I'm Liam.
I'm Brittany.
I'm Chelsea.
I'm Jack.
I'm Gabriele.
And we're here to present our topic of how does stress impact decision making. Before we begin, we would like to give you a short summary of what we are going to present. So first we have our opinion on what we believe the impacts of stress will be. Next, we have the definition of stress to clarify exactly what we are talking about, followed by a personal case about my father and how stress impacts his decisions and other research to back up these effects. Finally, we will present our conclusion on how stress impacts decision making.
We as a group from personal experience believe that stress has mainly negative effects on decision making, as stress can lead to fast decisions with little thought involved. However, we will look at our research to validate this. Definitions. Stress is a psychological response to demands where there is something at stake for individuals, and when coping with these demands would exceed the individual's capacity of resources. Stressors. Demands that cause the stress response. Time constraints, financial uncertainty.
For our case, we chose to look at my father, Gordon MacDonald, and his business, Black and White Fisheries Limited. In the fishing industry, because it is a highly stressful and demanding job that requires constant decision-making skills. For example, as the captain and the owner, he is under stress of the time constraints the fishing season offers with the uncontrollable aspect of weather. This can lead to the decision to go out when the weather is less favorable, in order to meet the quota within the 4-month season. Another source of stress in the fishing industry, MacDonald indicated, was the financial uncertainty that comes with the job because it is seasonal. And if the weather does not cooperate, then it can lead to pay cuts for all of the employees at Black and White Fisheries, which can cause poor decisions to be made. Now we move on to the reasons these stresses cause poor or risky decisions.
Now we will be discussing decisions under time pressure and how time constraints affect risky decision making. In the fishing industry, it is only a 4-month-long season, and with bad weather, this can make it even shorter. Time pressure is a type of psychological stress that occurs when a person has less time available to complete a task. People will choose strategies that will cause least amount of cognitive effort. In other words, people attempt to reduce cognitive effort by using a decision strategy that they are already familiar with. People will not always switch to easier strategies, however, if switching itself takes up too much effort. Under time pressure, it is difficult to make decisions based off of the best alternative because the choice must be made within a specific time period. In a non-stressful atmosphere, people would focus on utility maximization. However, when time becomes an issue, people will take shortcuts and rush in order to save time. As well, having time pressure distracts and causes stress to individuals, leaving fewer processing resources to complete the task. Finally, changes in strategies are necessary since time pressure restricts the time available to search for better ideas and information.
Stress causes people to view and process risk and reward differently in decisions made under stress. The article suggests acute stress is one of the main reasons people perceive risk and reward in a different light. The reason being, acute stress enhances the selection of a previously experienced rewarding outcome, but at the same time impairs avoidance of previously negative outcomes. For example, researchers suggest a model called STARS. Stress triggers additional reward salience. The STARS model is based on the fact that stress enhances your desire for a positive outcome. So when faced with a decision under stress, a person may choose to go a certain way due to the amplified positive outcome. Therefore, there's potential for people to make riskier decisions due to the focus on the reward and not the risk. To note, while our argument is based around the negative effects of stress in decision making, the STARS model suggests that the outcome can be positive or negative depending on the context.
Everybody experiences different stressors and have different reactions to stress. Something to be considered is the experience each person has. Someone who has been in the same position doing the same task and problem solving for 30 years will handle the stress of everyday tasks with ease, whereas someone in the same position who's only been working for a couple of months may find such problems to be much more stressful and have a bigger impact on their decisions. We tend to choose leaders who already have plenty of experience in their fields, and this can be partly due to the fact that when a problem arises, they can make effective decisions under pressure, as the stress is not new to them, and they have prior experiences to pull from. A lot of stress comes from the unknown, so the more training and experience someone has in a field, the less stress they'll feel, as as they've been better trained and equipped to understand and handle the situation. This relates to our case study, as Mr. McDonald has been working as a fisherman for 40 years and as a business owner for 25 years, meaning he's got plenty of experience and knows his way around the job. So when stressful situations arise, he is less likely to find himself overwhelmed than his competitors, who may have only been in the business for a couple of years. His experience allows him to have been through many of the situations before and has learned how to handle the tasks, and as he already knows what to do, the situations won't feel as stressful. Experience is drawing on knowledge from the past and allows our brains to find the quickest, most effective solution to the problem. So, this being said, it's better to have a more experienced person leading the team in a stressful situation, as they're more likely to know how to handle it and feel less of the pressure the stress is causing. But experience doesn't necessarily eliminate stress, but it can help to lessen it and make better, more thought-out decisions as a result.
There is limited research on the impact of stress among genders. From the research done, there are multiple patterns found that show differences in decision making. 2 tests will be discussed, the first being a balloon popping experiment. Subjects were to pump a balloon as big as they can without popping it. They were able to stop whenever they deemed fit. The bigger the balloon, the bigger the cash reward. If a balloon was popped, no reward would be given. The experiment was done before and after induced by stress. Before induced stress, males and females had very similar behavior. After stress was induced, results showed that women are more likely to reduce risk-taking, whereas males took more risk while under stress. Males showed an overall greater reward collection and faster decision-making speed than their female counterparts, who made less reward collection and slower decision speeds. The slower speeds were used as a mechanism to wait until the stressful situation had been reduced. However, women were less prone to collecting their reward frequently, having a decreased need for smaller rewards. Overall, all men showed a higher success than their counterparts. In another risk-taking game, similar results were found. Men showed more stimulation in their brain when getting rewarded, showing women have less drive for reward when under stress. Both men and women decision-making are impacted when stress is implicated. Whether it be positive or negative, stress can create a serious impact on decision-making. Relating back to the case study, going out fishing is pumping the balloon. If you stop or leave too early, you lose money. If you decide not to go at all, no money will be made. The fishing industry is known for being a dangerous business. Taking risks is a big factor within it. This makes sense considering most captains are males. To succeed in the industry, the captain has to constantly be pushing the limits of the balloon, not letting it pop but keeping it pumped, and going back after for a big reward.
Stress doesn't always have to have a negative effect on decision making. Stress can also impact decision making in positive ways. An optimal amount of stress can cause people to take action when they may not have in the first place. Using our case study, this can be seen by the fact Mr. McDonald takes advantage of the good weather as he knows the weather won't always be good, which can be stressful. Without the stress of time constraints and constantly changing weather, Mr. McDonald could push off sending boats out because he doesn't feel like it. But instead, he acknowledges the stress of fishing and allows these stressors to push him to make effective decisions. As well, judgment is not always compromised under stress. Although stress may narrow the focus of attention, this doesn't necessarily lead to a negative consequence in decision-making, as some studies show that people can often adopt a simpler mode of information processing, which may help in focusing on critical issues.
Overall, stress has many impacts on decision-making, which tend to be negative more than positive. We see through our case study that the stressors such as time constraints and financial uncertainty lead to riskier and worse decisions by not having time to think things through properly, as well as viewing rewards as greater than risks. There is also evidence supporting gender differences when reacting to stressors. Experience decreases the stress that tends to occur while making decisions. A positive effect of stress is that it can cause one to have a narrow focus, allowing only the critical facts to be considered when making a decision. Thank you.